Hello, my name is Linda Jimenez, and I'm a current student in Cohort 9. I also serve as the director of the Florida Center for Public Management at Florida State University, and I'd like to welcome my committee to my dissertation and practice preliminary defense titled Exploring Public Service Motivation and Leadership Journeys in the Certified Public Manager Program. To understand my motivation for the study, I have to take you back to my formative years. Grounded on the values of education and hard work, I found myself unemployed in the early 2000s. My mom gave me one piece of advice that would change the trajectory of my life: find a job in the government. And every key milestone in my life has since led me to pursue this body of research. The problem of practice I will address in this study will focus on two major themes. First, the disconnect between the widespread use of leadership development programs in the public sector and the limited understanding of their long-term influence for the individuals who participate in them. Public organizations invest substantial resources in the development initiatives with the expectation that these programs will enhance leadership capacity. However, existing research suggests that the effectiveness of leadership training in government settings remains poorly understood, particularly from the participant's perspective. In Florida, the Certified Public Manager program serves as a primary leadership credential for managers. Yet, post-program data collection is minimal and largely focused on short-term reactions rather than sustained leadership outcomes. Compounding this issue is the persistent confusion between management and leadership roles in public organizations, where individuals are often promoted based on tenure or technical transition into roles that require leading people, navigating organization culture, and managing change. Gaps in leadership preparation become more pronounced. Workforce turnover, delayed retirements, and evolving service demands further intensify the need for evidence-based leadership development. Despite decades of the certified public manager implementation and thousands of graduates, there is a lack of recent qualitative research examining how participants make sense of their leadership experiences and how the program influences their leadership identity and practice. This absence of participant-centered evidence limits the ability for agencies to assess the value of CPM. Addressing this problem requires an in-depth exploration of the graduates' experiences to illuminate how leadership development is internalized, interpreted, and enacted within the public sector and the individuals who participate in these leadership development programs. The purpose of this qualitative study is to explore the individual's motivation to pursue a career in the public sector, to understand their motivation to enroll in and complete the CPM program, and to examine how this program influences their leadership journey and identity. Grounded in public service motivation theory and transformational leadership theory, the study seeks to understand how intrinsic values and leadership development intersects within a formal leadership credential. The CPM program provides a rich context for this inquiry due to its national accreditation, competency-based curriculum, and extensive reach across Florida's public sector. The National Certified Public Manager Program began in the early 1970s when public agencies in Georgia recognized a growing need for a more coordinated and professionalized management training. In response, the University of Georgia's Institute of Government, Georgia Center for Continuing Education, and the Georgia State Merit System came together in 1974 to design an integrated program that would strengthen management competencies and reduce fragmented training efforts. Program planners believed that simple attendance certificates were not sufficient enough to ensure quality, and instead they envisioned a rigorous competency-based program grounded in study, application of knowledge and examination, and meaningful professional recognition. Florida's CPM program was established in 1979 at Florida State University, and shortly after finding its home under the Center and Institute umbrella within the College of Social Sciences and Public Policy. Since then, it has grown into one of the nation's largest CPM programs, graduating nearly 10,000 public service professionals from across the state. For my study, there will be 3 research questions to guide. and reflect on the focus of motivation, learning, and leadership identity. My first research question asked what factors motivated participants to pursue a career in the public sector. This question is grounded in public service motivation theory and seeks to understand the intrinsic value, commitment, and experiences that draw individuals to public service and to sustain their engagement. My second research question explores how CPM graduates describe their learning experiences within the program and what aspects were most influential in their development. This question centers on the participants' perspectives on the curriculum, assignments, interactions, and reflective activities that contributed to their growth. The third question examines how CPM graduates believe the program shaped their leadership identity and how they applied that identity in their roles when leading others. This question is informed by transformational leadership theory and focuses on identity formation, behavior change, and workplace application. Together, these questions are designed to capture a holistic picture of the leadership development journey from motivation to learning to practice by way of the CPM program. They move beyond assessing whether the program was effective to understanding how and why it matters to the participants. By aligning the research questions with established theoretical framework, the study ensures conceptual coherence and provides a clear structure for data collection, analysis, and interpretation. The study will employ a basic qualitative research design to explore how CPM graduates make meaning of their motivations, learning experiences, and leadership development. A qualitative approach is well suited for this inquiry because it prioritizes the participants' perspectives and allows for an in-depth examination of this phenomenon. Public service motivation theory provides the primary lens for understanding why individuals pursue and persist in public service and in leadership roles, emphasizing intrinsic drivers. Transformational leadership complements this framework by offering insights in how leadership identity and behaviors develop through inspiration, influence, intellectual stimulation, and individualized consideration. Together, these theories provide a dual lens that explains both why participants are drawn to public service and how leadership development unfolds through structured learning experiences. The theoretical frameworks inform the research questions, my interview protocol, and analytic approach, ensuring alignment across my study. The study will use purposeful sampling to recruit 15 to 20 CPM graduates who completed the program in either 2024 or 2025 and currently serve in a management role within a state, local, or constitutional office. I will define constitutional offices as those with elected heads, such as the sheriff's office or the tax collector's office. This sampling strategy prioritizes depth in information-rich cases rather than statistical generalizability. The data collection consists of semi-structured interviews conducted via Zoom, and they'll last approximately 45 to 60 minutes, which allows participants to reflect on their motivations, learning experiences, and leadership application. In addition to the interviews, the study will incorporate document analysis and specifically the CPM Level 7 assignment titled Your Executive Growth to provide contextual insight and support triangulation. Data analysis will follow Creswell's spiral approach involving multi-cycles of reading, coding, and interpretation. First cycle coding includes in vivo and a priori informed by public service motivation constructs, followed by pattern coding to identify certain themes that emerge. To strengthen the credibility and trustworthiness of the study, I will incorporate a few well-established strategies by Creswell and Miller. First, I'll use member checking to allow the participants to review summaries of their interviews and ensure that their perspectives are accurately represented. This will help validate the interpretation process. I'll also engage in reflexive journaling throughout the data collection analysis process. This will allow me to surface my assumptions, monitor and document my analytic decisions. To couple that, I will also use analytic memoing during the coding cycles to capture emerging insights and track patterns. As with all qualitative research, the studies will operate within defined parameters and limitations that shape the interpretations of my findings. This relatively small, purposeful selected sample limits transferability to all CPM graduates or public sector managers. I envision my approach will allow for a rich, in-depth understanding. Voluntary participation introduces the possibility of self-selected biases, as individuals who had a particularly strong perspective may be more inclined to participate. Recall biases is also a consideration, as participants reflect on experiences that may have occurred months or even years ago. My positionality represents an additional limitation. Given my professional proximity to CPM, while this proximity can enhance rapport and contextual understanding, it also necessitates careful reflexivity to mitigate my own biases. Strategies such as the reflective journaling, member checking, and peer debriefing will be employed to address these concerns. By being transparent about these limitations, the study will strengthen its credibility and allow readers to consider the scope and applicability for future findings. So in summary, the study will address a critical gap in understanding how leadership development programs influence public sector managers over time, specifically the Certified Public Manager Program. By centering the voice on CPM graduates, the research will provide insights into motivation for public service, meaningful learning experiences, and the formation of their leadership identity. And for scholars, it extends research on public service motivation and transformational leadership by applying these frameworks within a practitioner-based leadership credential, such as CPM. Ultimately, this research will underscore the value of a qualitative inquiry in capturing the complexity of leadership development and offer actionable insights for strengthening leadership capacities in the public sector in Florida. I'd like to close with the opportunity for my committee to offer any insights, to answer any questions for clarification or further study. And I would like to thank you all once again for your time.